Time is a thief whose footsteps you never hear until it has taken everything. And when you realize it, all that remains is regret. You can keep a coin in your pocket, a foto in a drawer, a memory in your mind, but you cannot hold on to a moment that has just passed. It slips through your hands like water falling from a broken jar. Impossible to catch. I have met people who said they would start praying when life became less busy, that they would seek God when they were older, that they would change when they had time. Yet, each time they postponed, a moment vanished. An opportunity was lost, and a gift given from heaven was thrown into the void. The Bible calls it a gift. And indeed, if there is one thing given to all of us equally, it is time. The rich or poor, the strong or weak, all wake up to the same number of hours in a day, yet each person uses it differently. Therefore, the issue is not quantity, but how you open that gift. Some open it with gratitude, careful with every moment, and let it bear the fruit of love and righteousness. Others open it hastily, wasting each day as if it will last forever. But ask yourself, when a day ends, have you used that gift to draw closer to the Creator or to drift further away from Him? Time does not pause for you to think. It does not wait until you have a plan to start flowing. It continues, whether you pay attention or not. And this truth is more frightening than you think. For what you postpone today will not be easier tomorrow. People often seek wisdom to protect money, to accumulate wealth, but they spend time as if it were worthless. If you lose money, you can make it again. But when you lose time, you have lost a part of your own life. I tell this not to instill fear, but to awaken. For I, too, have wasted many years on trivial matters, only to realize that ordinary hours are golden threads weaving a spiritual life. Hosea wrote that the time has come to seek the Lord, and I believe he wrote it not as a cold command, but as an urgent call. For no one wants to open a priceless gift only to throw it away immediately. You may ask, so what should I do with this gift? The answer is simple yet hard to implement. Begin by seeing today as all you have. Do not wait for another opportunity. Time is a gift, and how you use it will determine who you are in eternity. There is a strange contradiction in the human heart. Everyone complains that they need more time, yet when time is truly in their hand, they give it to vain things. We often say we will pray more when work is less stressful. Read the Bible more when our minds are at peace. Seek God more when there is space in our schedule. But the truth is, that space rarely appears on its own. And the longer we wait, the more hardened the heart becomes. I have observed that people often act as if they have an endless reserve of tomorrow, while today slips away like sand falling through an hourglass. There is a truth you need to ask yourself. To whom are you giving this gift of time? To fleeting entertainments, endless worries, or to the one who gave you breath? When you lay your head on the pillow at the end of the day, do you feel closer to God or further away? I do not write these words to judge, but to accompany. For I, too, have allowed busyness to steal precious moments. And from that experience, I know that the decision to change never begins tomorrow. It can only begin this very moment. So allow me to ask you, are you ready? Ready to stop making excuses? Ready to stop postponing to the future? Ready to tell yourself that this time belongs to God, and I will use it to draw closer to Him. If in your heart there is a small voice calling you to start again, do not let it be buried. Let me know that you are here, that you are listening, that you want to change. You can write, "I'm ready," in the comments, or even simply type the number 1. Just a small number is enough to tell me that you are there, that you are not only listening, but responding. This is not only meaningful for you, but also an invaluable encouragement for the person sharing these words with you, to let me know I am not speaking alone, that this message has reached someone, has found a heart longing, and I truly thank you. I am grateful for your presence, because nothing is more precious than knowing you are not walking this path alone. Time is a gift, and your small response today may be the seed of a life transformed. Young people often live as if they hold the entire universe in their hands. They believe that tomorrow is always within reach, that there will be endless time to think about the soul, to pray, to be serious about faith. And they promise themselves that the time will come, but not today. The elderly, however, see life through different eyes. They realize that time is not a gentle river, but a rushing waterfall, that a single blink can carry away decades. They speak of days wasted, prayers never uttered, embraces never given to loved one, and they sigh not for mistakes made, but for moments lost forever. The Bible spares no words when it reminds that human life is like vapor, appearing for a moment and then vanishing. And this warning is not meant to instill fear, but to awaken. We are not promised tomorrow. No one can add an hour to their life simply by worrying. Yet people act as if death is a story for someone else. When Jesus entered the village of Bethany, He found Martha busy with many tasks, while Mary sat at His feet to listen. Martha was troubled and complained, but Jesus answered that Mary had chosen the better part, and that part would not be taken away. That response still echoes today, like a knife cutting through our busyness. The better part is not always flashy. It often looks like a small action, a quiet moment, a whisper to the Creator. Yet it is that part which remains when all work and noise have faded. So I ask you, will you choose like Martha, letting the days pass in an endless whirl? Or will you choose like Mary, knowing how to pause and give your precious time to God? The elderly may advise, but you need not wait until old age to learn this lesson, for it has been written from the beginning. And if you read it with open eyes, you will see that there is no luxury more valuable than time spent with Him. What chills me is the thought that one day all invitations may fall silent, not because God ceases to love, but because the heart has become too hardened to hear His voice. The world is full of noise, and if you continue to hesitate, the moment will come when you can no longer distinguish the shepherd's voice from the voices of strangers. That is why Scripture urgently says, "Todai." If you hear His voice, do not harden your heart. I write these words not to present a philosophical idea, but to convey a truth. You do not own the future. You only have today, and if you let today pass carelessly, tomorrow may never come. Once, I heard about a man who constantly postponed coming to God. He said he needed more time, needed to straighten out his life, needed to prepare more completely before approaching Him. But one morning, he never woke up again, and those plans to prepare were forever lost. That story made me reflect. For in our eyes, there is always a reason to wait, to delay. To think that tomorrow is the proper time. Yet in God's eyes, today is the day of salvation. He does not wait for you to be perfect to love you. He loves you in your most broken state, at your weakest moment, when you are still a stranger, still turning away. Have you ever seen yourself like that man? Always thinking you need to be more ready, more holy, better, before daring to approach him? But ask yourself, what if that day never comes? This is why I cannot remain silent, because every moment is urgent. I am not telling you a philosophical story, but a truth. How many people in this world have passed away while their hearts were still empty, never having spoken to God, never having uttered a prayer, never having given their faith? Do you want to be one of them? I ask you, do you hear the quiet call within your heart? Have you ever felt your heart urged to return to the source of light? I believe you have heard, for if not, you would not be sitting here reading these lines if you are truly listening. If you feel this is not just passing words, but something touching your very soul, I want you to do a small thing. Leave a comment. Just write, I am ready. Or even simply type the number 1, so I know you are not alone. So I know there are hearts sharing the same longing. So I know this story does not fall into endless emptiness. That is precious to me, because I am not speaking to hear myself. I am speaking to reach you, and I believe God Himself is watching every small response of yours. He knows every thought, every sigh, and treasures even the hidden tears. Do not think you need to present much. Sometimes a silent prayer, a simple whisper, is enough to move heaven. I recall the story of the thief on the cross. He had no lifetime to make amends, no chance to do good works. What he had was just a few final hours. And in that short time, he cried out, "Remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus answered immediately, "Today, you will be with me in paradise." Do you see? No perfect preparation is needed. No waiting until your life is tidy. God receives you the moment you dare to open your heart. My question to you is, how long will you continue to wait? How many days will pass before you dare to speak a simple word to Him? If you truly feel this is for you, do not remain silent. Let me know with that small sign. For your presence is an invaluable encouragement. One quiet afternoon, as the sun gradually sank and golden light stretched across the fields, I remembered the image of Jesus sitting by the lakeside with His disciples. He did not bring flowery words, nor did He use force to persuade. He simply told simple stories about seeds, about the sower, about fertile and barren soil. Yet within that simplicity lay a shining truth, a truth strong enough to challenge every soul, that each of us is like a piece of soil, and what we allow to enter our hearts will determine the fruit of our lives. Pause and ask yourself, what kind of soil are you? Are you opening your heart to let the seed of life be sown? Or are you letting thorns, stones, and dust suffocate the word of eternal life? Jesus did not speak to burden us. He spoke so that we would know we need to change, to understand that the opportunity still exists, and transformation is truly possible. I realize that He always chooses gentleness to reach people. He does not shout or impose, but looks deep into every heart. When the woman caught in adultery was brought before Him, the crowd was ready with stones to throw, but Jesus remained silent. Then softly said, "Let the one among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone." Those words pierced the hearts of everyone. causing hands to drop, steps to retreat, until only the trembling woman remained standing with him. And what he chose was not judgment, but forgiveness. He looked into her eyes and said, "Go and sin no more." His challenge was not in severity, but in the gentle invitation, calling us to live differently, to live truly new, meaningful lives. Sometimes we think Jesus only sees our fault, but in truth, he sees what we can become, and that sends shivers through me, because he sees even the darkness I hide, yet also the hidden light in me that even I do not recognize. I recount this so you know that you are not too far, not too sinful, not too late. Because if Jesus could speak to the thief in those final moments, he can speak to you right now. I believe that truth has the power to soothe tormented hearts and to challenge hardened ones. I want you to feel that in every page of the gospel, there are not only miraculous acts, but truths full of light. Truths that show us that Jesus comes not to impose a burden, but to remove it, not to take away joy, but to give full joy. So if you feel your heart yearning for something greater than what the world can offer, I believe that call is not vague. It is the whisper of the one who loves you more than anything. Once, I wondered what makes the most ordinary people become undeniable witnesses of the presence of the Savior. And the more I pondered, the more I realized that Jesus never chose the easy path. He did not choose a glorious throne or political power. He chose to walk the dusty path among those whom the world considers weak and insignificant. Consider this. Why would a group of fishermen dare to leave their nets and boats, the only source of livelihood, to follow a teacher who carries nothing but a simple cloak and a gaze full of power? What force compelled them to walk such an uncertain path, if not a call deeper than all reason, a call that made their hearts tremble to the core? I have often imagined the moment when Peter looked straight into his eyes and realized this was not just a man, but the one before whom even the winds and waves must be still. And that changed his life forever. What continues to send shivers through me is how Jesus turns seemingly meaningless circumstances into living proof of truth, as when he slept in the boat during the storm, not out of indifference, but so that they could see what true faith is. Faith that does not exist only when the sea is calm, but stands firm when dark clouds gather. I share this because we often think that having Jesus means all storms will avoid us. But the reality is that he lets us go through the storms, so we may know that it is precisely in our weakness that his power is most clearly revealed. It is astonishing that he does not promise to remove all suffering, but promises to be present in every moment of it. I believe this is why the first followers never turned back, because they experienced not a religion, but a powerfully incomparable love. Consider the woman at the well, abandoned, living under the scornful gaze of her entire village. Yet after a conversation with Jesus, she became a messenger of the gospel for the entire community. No dazzling miracle was needed, just a word that touched deep enough to ignite what seemed dead inside. And that is his style. He does not change the world with weapons or politics. He changes it through each person, each life, each heart, until that wave spreads beyond all borders. I realize that if today we still hear that story, it is not because of the power of history, but because of the life of truth, a truth that never grows old, never runs dry, always fresh and sharper than a sword. That also reminds me that when I hesitate, when I want to keep part of my life for myself, I have not truly understood the surrender he calls for. And you, if you hear this, and feel your heart slightly tremble. Perhaps it is He, knocking not with noise, but with a silence that we cannot ignore. I want to dedicate this to you, and I hope you won't scroll past it too quickly. Because sometimes even a single question can open up an entirely new journey. Have you ever felt like the disciples on the dark night at the lake, when waves crashed over, when the wind howled as if tearing apart all hope, and you wondered why Jesus was asleep, why He seemed silent? I believe that many times you have experienced this in your own life, moments when everything seems out of control, where the only response left is fatigue and confusion. But let me tell you what happened. When the disciples shook Him in fear, He simply stood, looked at the storm, and spoke a word, and the waves and wind became still. That moment reveals a clear truth. He is not absent. He is not indifferent. He is only waiting for you to realize that your strength is not enough, that it is precisely within human limitation, that you see His infinity. And now I want to ask you, perhaps you are also in that boat, in the storm of your own life, where work, family, or even your own heart is tossing endlessly. If that is you, are you willing to admit that you need Him, to place your trust in the one who calms the sea and stills the wind? If inside you there is a quiet voice saying you want to change, that you cannot continue as before, then I invite you to leave your mark in the comments. Just write, "I'm ready," or even just the number 1, so I know I am not speaking alone. That amid these words and sound, I am truly engaging with a living soul, longing to touch the truth. Do you realize how precious that is? When I see that small sign from you, it does not only encourage me, but confirms that the seed is falling on fertile soil, that someone is beginning a journey with no turning back. I want you to understand, this is not a monotonous ritual, not a mechanical miracle. This is your own response to the call that has echoed for 2,000 years and still resonates in your heart today. You may think you are not worthy, but remember, Jesus never waits for you to be perfect before calling. He calls you in your weakness, when you are still afraid, to prove that His power will accomplish what you cannot. And if you truly long, have the courage to leave a sign, so it can be the first step out of darkness. A declaration that you have chosen to stand amid the storm, not by your own strength, but by faith in the one who has overcome the world. I know some will read and remain silent, but others will dare to step forward, to leave just a number. And I tell you, that act, though small, can begin a profound transformation. So what will you choose today? To keep silent in the storm, or to place your mark and step into the peace that Jesus promises? Have you ever wondered why, despite all your efforts, striving, chasing success, or seeking recognition, your heart still feels empty? Like a room echoing that can never be filled? I believe that deep within you, there is a longing that no achievement can satisfy, no person can fill, because it is a void that only the one who created you can complete. We can run, hide, or cover it with work, laughter, or fleeting relationships. But when night falls, when silence wraps around, that longing rises again, reminding us that our soul was made to belong to something greater than ourselves. And here lies the challenge I want to pose to you. Do you have the courage to stop seeking in places that cannot save you and return to the one who has been waiting for you all along? Do you dare face the truth that every effort on your own only leads to weariness, while His grace alone leads to life? I do not promise that this journey will be easy, nor that storms will vanish. But I affirm that if you entrust yourself into His hands, you will have a steadfast anchor, a lighthouse that shines even in the darkest night. And that is what we will explore together in the steps ahead, the deeper layers of truth, where faith is no longer a concept, but a power that transforms your life from the root. Ask yourself, will you open your heart to believe that there is an unchanging love patiently waiting for you, even after you have turned away countless times? Or will you continue to refuse, locking yourself in a storm with no end? The choice is in your hands, but remember, delaying does not make the door disappear. It only makes the journey longer, and every passing second is a reminder that time does not belong to us. So if your heart is stirring, if there is an echo inside you urging that now is the moment to change, do not let it pass. For it may be the very moment of destiny that He gives you. In the following videos, I will go further with you, look deeper with you, and experience more clearly a faith no longer confined to the page, but becoming life, breath, and a daily source of strength. Prepare yourself, for that journey is not just to understand, but to live and to see that you have never truly been alone.